Where were you when Elvis died? Where were you when Kurt Cobain died? Bobby Kennedy, MLK, JFK, John Lennon. Where were you when you found out Whitney Houston died? This ranks right up there with all of those examples for my generation. The most recent death, Michael Jackson. I remember being outside, getting an alert on my telephone, and I kind of glanced at it, put it back, looked at it again, and really looked at it, and not believing what I saw. Is that how you felt when you found out about Whitney Houston last night? Because that's how I felt. I thought it was one of those Twitter tags, rest in peace Whitney Houston, and everyone sees it and runs with it. 48 years old, Whitney Houston is dead. Too young. Much too young. Cause of death is still unknown, but what we do know is she's gone. She has a history of drug problems. And it wouldn't surprise anyone. Would it surprise you if we found out the cause of death was attributed to overdose? Now TMZ is reporting this morning her body was found in the bathtub, which leads to speculation. Did she take a sedative, take a bath? Did she drown? Did she just simply stop breathing? Who found her? When was CPR started? TMZ is also reporting that by the time her daughter Bobby Christina arrived on the scene, the police wouldn't even let her see the body. And according to TMZ, and the reason why I quote TMZ is I tell people, I had a friend text me last night and asked me what he saw. I think it was he saw a report from CBS about it. I told him, I said, I tell people, if it's on TMZ, it's true. Somehow that website, those reporters find out information that no one else has. You might think they're scum, you might think they're slimy, you might hate what they do, but they have all the facts. They're very, very rarely wrong. I remember 1977, a kid in the kitchen in Kent, Ohio, and a gentleman who worked for my father at the time, knocking on our back door, asking my mom if she heard that Elvis had died. Now, as a kid, I knew who Elvis was, and it was shocking. I remember listening to a cassette tape, not a cassette tape, an 8-track tape of Elvis in Hawaii. Over and over. He had the white jumpsuit on, he wasn't really big yet. He had the lei around his neck. But I didn't know he was the king. I saw the films. I saw the comeback special, the clips of it. Black leather suit. I said, wow, Elvis is dead? 42. I remember coming home from school. The news comes on, the little news that comes on in between soap operas, saying that John Belushi had died. My best friend at school calls me. Gaylan, did you hear about John Belushi? Yeah, dude, I just saw it. John Belushi was, what, early 30s? Tragic. Drug overdose. Speedball. You have to wonder how is it that we as a society, individuals, always want to be famous? We dream of being famous, successful, rich, a celebrity, but so many achieve that success and they hate it, they resent it, they backlash against it. They don't want their pictures taken. How many times have we seen Sean Penn going like this to the paparazzi? Is it a bit much, the paparazzi? Of course it is. But that's what you sign up for. For every Sean Penn, there's a George Clooney who understands the game, plays the game. Diana, gone. Paparazzi. I remember I was working on a different radio station then, hearing about the accident at Daytona, hearing the NASCAR chief, I'm not sure what his name is, coming on saying, "We have lost Dale Earnhardt Sr. Gone." Certain deaths you just remember. They're burned into your subconscious that you just know where you were. Whether you were watching Monday Night Football in 1980 when Howard Cosell comes on and gives you this just in. Former Beatle John Lennon was shot right there in front of his home in the Dakota in New York City. Police have the assailant in custody. And you're sitting there watching, I don't even remember what the game was. But you just, what? John Lennon? My mom, I remember the Christmas, John Lennon died what? In December? Because he was born in October, so December 8th, 1980. I remember getting a Christmas list together and putting down on my Christmas list Double Fantasy, the album. This is before CDs. And I did get that for Christmas. And especially, I think my mom maybe would have overlooked that, but after John Lennon died, she did get it for me. Don't remember, I was not around for Marilyn Monroe. I was not around for JFK, but I know there's a lot of older people who remember vividly. And we've seen the clips of Walter Cronkite taking his glasses off and reporting that the president had been assassinated and tearing up live on the air. Kurt Cobain, I remember listening to another radio station, a rock station, and the report coming through, and you're like, once again, someone in my generation, Kurt Cobain, just Nirvana was on top. It wasn't like they had reached the peak and was now going down like Motley Crue had the downward spiral, or any of those bands from the 80s or even in the 90s. It wasn't like Vanilla Ice, who had the one-hit wonder. Nirvana, you thought, was here to stay. Look at Stone Temple Pilots is still here. Soundgarden is not necessarily making records, but the lead singer is still making records. Pearl Jam, still making records, still selling records. So for the bands from that Seattle grunge era, Bush is back together on tour making records. You kind of thought Nirvana was going to be here for a while, and you got a guy who just hated being famous, couldn't stand it. You could see it when he's on stage. There was a documentary that was on PBS last night that we watched called, I don't know, it was about the Doors. And it was actual footage of the Doors. The whole thing wasn't like reenactments or someone acting out Jim Morrison. It was the Doors. And if you've never seen footage of... And then the Doors were only together for like 50-something months? 2.5 years maybe? And with the fact that you hear the songs on the radio, you would think they've been around for at least 10 years making records. A lot of those singles came off of what? 2 or 3 CDs or albums? Very prolific and troubled Jim Morrison. Now, according to the documentary, he died. They never really said cause of death, but there was always like rumors and speculations that 1, he was still alive somewhere, or 2, it was a drug overdose, or he drank himself to death, kind of like John Bonham from Led Zeppelin. If you go by the documentary, he just died. So, what is he, 27? Same as Janis Joplin in 1969. Jimi Hendrix in 69 was 27 years old when he died. A lot of these people, we know who they are. There was a quote that Jim Morrison picked up from someone, or told a reporter about burning out. He goes, as far as burning out, in order to burn out, you've got to be red hot. And a lot of these individuals, these performers, these actors, River Phoenix, John Belushi, you think about it, they died young, but they died, James Dean, they died at the top of their game. A lot of them. There's very few in recent memory who died. Michael Jackson was just about to go on tour. He was rehearsing for his tour. Tupac Shakur, still relevant when he's shot. Biggie Smalls.